Bueno, bienvenidos a todos. Vamos a comenzar con nuestro programa de hoy. Tenemos algo muy importante para decirnos. Como vemos allá, ¿quiénes somos? Llegamos los presentes en el salón de clase cuando llegamos como miembros del magisterio y a qué nivel cumplimos con nuestras responsabilidades. Entonces, van a comenzar diciéndonos cuál es su nombre, cuál es su labor en el Departamento de Educación y por cuántos años han trabajado. Who would like to start? Muy bien.
But do I have to, I don't know if I can say it in Spanish, but I understood what you
No, only Spanish.
Oh, okay. Hola, me llamo Jacqueline. Yes, I forgot how to say
Allá dice, mire, estamos allá, llevamos como miembros del magisterio y a qué nivel cumplimos nuestras responsabilidades para que pueda decir.
Hacer...
No. ¿Alguien más? Está escrito. ¿Sí o no? Por favor, ok. Trate, por favor. ¿Alguien más?
Hola, yo soy Aisha, soy maestra, he trabajado por 8 años.
Ay, adiós, gracias, muchas gracias. ¿Alguien más? Si quiere algo más duro, ¿alguien más?
Estoy Robin de Isla en el Bronx. Hablo un poquito de español ahora porque aprendiendo de mis estudiantes.
Oh, muy bien.
Yo
Sí.
también.
Thank you so much. Thank everybody and welcome. And welcome to the frustration of multiple languages in the classroom and trying your best, right? Because they told you to make it visible. They told you to write it out. But is that really what's working, right? Like, we have to figure it out, right? And especially when we have, we have 20 languages in the classroom, all the frustration, what is going on. So to get started, any ideas, any feelings about what you experienced as a participant in this terrible lesson?
Well, for me, I understood what you said, but I can't speak as quickly. Mm-hmm. And so I thought of obviously how the students must feel. Granted, hopefully I'm not like, oh, you're not understanding, come on, that would be very awful of me.
Horrible.
But I'm sure other teachers might be, probably. So I felt like the frustration as a kid when you're trying to link language together, because I was like, oh, the words were flashing, but I couldn't speak them. It was so fast.
Yeah. I also think that speaks also to the fact that speaking is one thing and receiving it is another. Mm-hmm. We see it with a lot of the kids that are born in the United States and grow up, and we don't make them speak the second language at home. So we just let them speak in English to us as we speak Spanish to them, and little by little it's gone, unfortunately. Because it's two different parts of your brain working.
I find reading it is much easier than listening to it because I can recognize the root words.
But then, what kind of words are you putting on the board? Right? Sometimes, there's even poetry in that. What?
I also was thinking about the fact that because it was Spanish, it maybe was a little easier to grasp and hold on to, and that some of the languages don't even use the same, alphabet. Like there's so many things that would make it even harder if it had been a different language.
For sure. Yeah, especially depending on the background that you have in terms of languages, right? That's going to play a big factor on how you can process.
Well, like for instance, I speak French, and a lot of my students speak Haitian, and it's totally different. And the thing is like we're frustrated because I'm saying the word in French, and they're like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta add an accent to it, or I gotta reconjugate it, and then I have to rethink how to say it, and then I'm on Google Translator, and I'm massacring the language. They're laughing at me.
Yes.
I'm looking at them like, is a para here?
Absolutely.
And I feel like when it comes to the student, I wanted a para. I was like, where's my para?
Yeah.
Someone to help me, guide me, to support me in this. And you can't give that individual attention to your teacher, or expect to get that individual.
Absolutely, 120, right? And how expensive paras are, and who is really doing it, and does the para really speak the language? It's complicated.
Yeah.
I think about my students too, who, because I teach elementary, they don't know how to read in English or in their home language.
Mm-hmm.
So that it doesn't help them, printing stuff out for them as much as you try. They can't read.
Yeah.
They're in kindergarten, so I think that's challenging.
Similar, I'm in District 75, so they're high schoolers, but they can't necessarily read, and so they're dealing with so many delays in understanding, so it's huge.
I was thinking the social emotional piece of being wrong already. I speak Spanish fluently. You were speaking so fast, your accent is different from mine. I was trying to read, I was trying to listen. Very scary, frustrating, and heartbreaking almost when you think about our students sitting there in confusion.
I love you.
No, I was, I speak words of Spanish, even though I took like years of Spanish, I can't remember how to conjugate for anything. And so, and I had to teach elementary too, and they're like tiny, and they also aren't speaking the words clearly enough also. So they would like, so they gave me a translator. So I used a translator, but I was just saying before, what's so frustrating is if I'm trying to talk, I have half, English speaking kids and half like Venezuelan and Spanish speaking kids. And I have to talk into the translator, then we gotta wait for the translation. And then the kids, and then if I'm telling a story, if I'm reading a story, I'm reading the story, and then we gotta all stop. I completely disrupt the continuance of the story by having them listen to it, and then the kids are just, they're gone. And it's
Super
very frustrating, yeah.
Absolutely. Good. All right, so full transparency, being in the DOE not DOE anymore, being in New York, PS, public schools, DOE, we're old enough. I think we're old people, I should say DOE. Been in the Department of Education for 15 years. Came here when I was 19 years old from Colombia. Didn't speak any English at all. And studied theater, musical theater, and then went back for education and studied linguistics. And then now I'm combining performing arts and linguistics. And we have an after-school youth theater where we do our original plays. And I studied also applied theater at the CUNY school with Helen and Chris, and that's kind of my background. And I've always been teaching high school. So a lot of the things that I know how to do and all that is for high school, but I'm excited to hear how you guys would adapt it to your stuff. So should we try this lesson again? See what happens? Can I try it again? Yes? Let's see if we can make it better. All right? So this is me in 2010, and now this is me in 2024. All right? So, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Muy bien. Este es the name game. Muy bien. Helio. Student A, yo digo, hola, mi nombre es Helio. Everybody. Ahora, soy means I am, and then I'm going to talk about if I am a teacher or a teaching artist or what it is. And whatever is in the lines, you can use your own language to say it. It doesn't have to be Spanish, right? So, hola, mi nombre es Helio. Soy maestro de high school. And everybody says?
We love teachers.
Yes, we do. Muy bien. Ahora, how long have I been a teacher? How long have you been doing that? And in Spanish, we have this craziness that we take I have been and then cram it into one. So all you have to say is llevo 2 years. Siendo means being a teacher, right? Llevo 2 años siendo teacher, siendo maestro. And everybody says,
Wow, 2 years. Thank you for sharing.
Fácil?
Muy fácil.
Very good. Let's try it again. So I am student A, right? Hola, mi nombre es Helio.
Hello.
Soy maestro de high school.
We love teachers.
Llevo 2 años siendo maestro.
Wow, 2 years. Thank you for sharing.
Yay, very good. Very good. Now, anybody else would like to join us? We'd like to start and then we'll go to the serve. Yes.
Hola, mi nombre es Betty.
Hello, Betty.
Soy maestra de prekinder.
We love teachers.
Llevo 25 años como maestra de teatro.
Wow, 25 years. Thank you for sharing. Now, would you like to go to
Hola, mi nombre es Julia.
Hello, Julia.
Soy maestro de, yo no sé, elementary school.
We love teachers.
Llevo ¿cómo se dice? 13.
13
años siendo maestro.
Wow, 13 años. Thank you for sharing.
Gracias.
Hola, mi nombre es Gurian.
Hello, Marian.
Soy maestro de elementary.
We love teachers.
Llevo 18 años siendo maestro.
Wow, 18 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Laixa.
Hello, Liza.
Soy maestra de middle school.
We love teachers.
Llevo 2 años siendo maestra de teatro.
Wow, 2 años.
2 años.
Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Gwen.
Hello, Gwen.
Soy maestra de high school.
We love teachers.
Llevo 6 años siendo maestra.
Wow, 6 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Joanna.
Hello, Joanna.
Soy maestra de elementary school.
Wow, we love teachers.
Y llevo 3 años siendo maestra.
Wow, 3 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Evan.
Hello, Evan.
Soy maestro de middle school.
We love teachers.
Llevo 3 años siendo maestro.
Wow, 3 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hello again. Hola, mi nombre es Jacqueline.
Hello, Jacqueline.
Soy maestra de elementary school.
We love teachers.
Llevo 1 año siendo maestro.
Wow, 1 year. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Gretchen.
Hello.
Hello, Gretchen.
Soy maestra de middle y high school.
We love teachers.
Llevo 12 años siendo maestra.
Wow, 12 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Karen.
Hello, Karen.
I had to think for a second. Alright, soy maestro de elementary school, primaria, escuela.
We love teachers.
Thank you. Llevo 20. 20, okay. Yo, sí, llevo 20 siendo maestro.
Wow, 20 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Kelly.
Hello, Kelly.
Soy maestro de high school.
We love teachers.
I've heard this 15 times now, and I don't remember how to say it. Llevo, how do I say 25? 25 siendo maestro.
Wow, 25 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Kirsten.
Hello, Kirsten.
Soy maestro de elementary.
We love teachers.
Llevo 8 años siendo maestro.
Wow, 8 years.
Thank you for
sharing. Hola, mi nombre es Robin.
Hello, Robin.
Soy maestra de middle school y high school también.
We love teachers.
Llevo 20 años siendo maestra de teatro.
Wow, 20 years. Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Aisha.
Hello, Aisha.
años siendo maestra.
Wow,
8 years.
Thank you for sharing.
Hola, mi nombre es Jason.
Hello, Jason.
Soy maestro de high school.
We love teachers.
Llego 1 año siendo maestro.
Wow.
1 year.
Thank
you for sharing.
Trial bonding. Very good. And we achieved the objective. That was the lesson before. What do you think about it now?
Easier?
What made it easier for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very good. What made it easier? What do you think?
Well, the script.
Powerful, right? And we as theater teachers, this is so easy for us to do. Just to script it. What else made it
Welcoming, accepting, helpful. When a few who spoke asked, how do you say it? You told them.
Right. And I love that we work with something called translanguaging that Ophelia Garcia and people in the grad center, kind of thought about, which is trying to get away from that Spanish only or English only or all these different things, because we don't need that in our lives. Normalizing that you can do both.
I
It
love
just
Spanglish.
relaxes you, right? But it relaxes you, and also in other different languages. And always saying in the dotted line, you can use whatever language you want. It's also very like, oh good, I can do something, right? It's just helpful. Very good. Yes, anything else?
For me, it was the wait and response. Because there are some kids who are very nervous that they just shut down mentally. So for that first line to go out and then for them to wait to gather their thoughts and then go again, I think that really works.
Good. So repetition, and then giving chances for people to have scaffolds, helping each other.
You modeling it at first helps.
Right.
That's kind of an invitation into it.
So important, and we forget it so many times. So something as simple as this, for a language learner, is going to be a lot for us to think about, right? So that's also helpful. Beautiful. So now we can continue, and then I'll share with you. Everything is in the slideshow, so you can see it. Something to think about when you are, doing your games. And we have this is the blank one if you want to use it. And I do it. I was born in, and for how long have you been in the United States? That's also helpful. Very good. And then we were talking about how it's different when we are able to say something and we were understanding something, and that takes it takes a little while. And I put here just a general kind of ideas of the stages of language acquisition, right? Because somebody could understand everything you're saying and not be able to say it, not be able to respond to you. That's why it's so tricky to test language learning and language proficiency, because it's very individual. So the most important thing for me to understand is if you're not saying anything, it doesn't mean you're not learning. How can I assess that any other way, right? How can I create activities maybe that don't require any speaking, so I can assess that you're present and with us? And then in terms of like strategies to support comprehension, there's a cool article about translanguaging and all these different things, so you can click on that corner and then read it into it if you want to. But in general, we have these like open door to all languages, and in high school it works very well. I wonder in elementary too, when the kids speak about themselves, they are more invested in general. So how can we find ways for them to like express that? Is also very helpful. Be more visual, but be careful with your visuals that you don't have like all those rote words that we had at the beginning. So how can we be strategic about the things we present? Script your tasks, which is creating that simple basic script where everybody can interact. I use it a lot for turn and talks. So instead of being like, okay, talk to each other about my death. No, why are you talking, right? It's like, so scripting a little bit of that is very helpful and also helps them. And then I align my scripts to the regents and the way that they have to structure the paragraphs, because I am both a theater and an ELA teacher, and I have combined the two. So the arts department in my school and the English department work together. So that's also helpful. And also principals love to do that, to see that in the lesson plans, that you're aligning yourself to the regents. Pace yourself. So you see, this could be a 45-minute lesson. because you can actually have it done as a turn and talk for them to rehearse it before you do it as a group. So for a language learner, things are going to take much longer. Something to think about. The body system is something that we use a lot, especially when you have multiple languages in one classroom. Maybe somebody can support each other. Identify the strong students that can support you in the process. That helps a lot. The importance of modeling. You have to model. You have to fishbowl it. At the beginning of the year, turning and talking is very American, people. We don't do that where we come from, right? So I'm going to a stranger and be like, "Want to talk about my bread? That's so weird." It's totally awkward. So be mindful of those cultural things that are like, keeping it simple in terms of language. So at the beginning, I didn't say, "Okay, everybody, welcome. We're going to talk about a game that is going to talk about names." And no. I say, "Name game, buenos dias." So you're following, right? What's going on? Keep it simple and chunk your information, especially when we're doing text, when we're doing scripts, when we're doing things. Just take that juicy little part of it and work on it instead of like wanting to do a full play. Or sometimes, you have 1 week to do, Macbeth. And it's like, what? Right? We don't need that. Very good. And then we have a little more. Always physicalizing it, because the production of language is going to take a minute, right? So how can you do it in your body? Writing it out on the board, asking them to write it out also is very helpful. With the very, very beginners, many times I have the script and they have it in their computers or in their tablets, and they fill it out on their script first before they actually speak to everybody. That is actually helpful. Being mindful of different cultures and what is appropriate, because turning and talking is super awkward. And then also holding the door for somebody, for example, it's super weird. And having to say thank you, like you already humiliated me by opening the door and doing this for me, and you're expecting me to now speak to you and say thank you? That's a lot. Right?
It's not a thing. It's an American thing.
Right? In a lot of cultures, just going to a stranger being like, thank you. It's like, why? Where? What? And then in an American culture, it's like, you're expecting me to open the door for you, so you're not saying thank you to me. Why are you saying thank you to me? I don't work for you. I'm just doing it because I'm nice. You should say thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's like craziness. So being mindful of these cultural things. I remember also, I was in a Catholic school where I was not allowed to look to the side because that gave permission to the priest to hit me. That's where I come from. So when you are in a classroom, you look to the front, no matter what happens and when the teacher walks around. So if a teacher is next to me and is talking to me, I'm gonna look to the front. I'm not gonna look him in the eye and be like, what? Right? It's like, that's super scary, like you can't do that. But then as teachers, we're like, why are you engaged? You're not looking at me. What, did I do anything to you? Why are you looking at me, right? So all these different things, all these different cultures and standards that we have. And also understanding that American culture is like ready to go. Like you were present, you talk to me, you speak loud. Why are you speaking loud? That's very American, which I love and I had to learn, but that's not what the world is like. I think that's why we have the strongest army in the world, I think. And we're ready to fight, especially in New York. It's like, what? Right? We're like, no, we can't do that. Anyway, sentence starters. The sentence starters are like a little frame, also works out great. Word banks and routines. Something that is repeated many times works very well. I have a lot of my theory coming also from indigenous, pedagogy. So I don't know how to work without circles. I always work in a circle. Everybody has a voice. Also, it's very helpful. And then we do the check-ins at the beginning. And here's some examples. I like when the kids come up with their own check-ins. These are some questions that you can ask yourself when you have a lesson. When you're having problems, you can go to these questions and maybe check if there is something that you need to address. You can look at those. We have our check-in routines, and our check-in routines have 3 forms. The kids make it up, and then you can either say a number, just a number, to see how you're feeling right now in that moment, or you can have an expression, not great, más o menos. And I always encourage all the languages in the room to be part of our checking routine, so we're all learning from each other's languages, which is kind of fun. Or you can just have, you know, a hand gesture. So every time that we come into the room, we have a circle, and then somebody starts. I have my bell, so bell, everybody's relaxed, and everybody, one by one, we just share to each other how we feel in that moment. Because also, as immigrants, we go through a lot. God only knows what's happening at home. God only knows what's going on. Sometimes you don't want to talk to anybody. And you gotta respect that. Sometimes just saying, I don't want to talk to anybody, makes you feel better and makes you want to talk to people, right? Especially when, you know, we have maybe food issues, housing issues, clothing issues. A lot of issues are happening, right? And also something in terms of that is being very good friends with your social workers and the people that provide all the services. It is not our job. We're not, I am not a therapist, so I know my limitations. But I am a mandated reporter, so I always talk about things, right? Because a lot of kids in my school, for example, live by themselves. They are by themselves here, they're 14, 15 years old, they walked here, and they're gonna have a lot of needs, right? So they're wearing the same clothes all week. They're doing a lot of different things, so how could we talk and then figure that out? And it's very tricky because the mental health providers are not supposed to tell us a lot of these details about our kids. And I wish I knew everything so I could help them. So it's like a weird balance. So, you know, just report it, figure it out, and take into consideration that they're going through hell a lot of times. So it's good to have a check-in routine to see how you're feeling. And then something that we also work on together at the beginning of the year is our community agreements. And that is something also very special and part of like indigenous pedagogy, which is really cool, where we all as a circle, we all come together and then we all talk about what is best for our group, right? How do we feel about this? How do we feel about learning? You know, what does it mean to be present and all these different things? And have them make it. And I love that, especially for the use of technology within my high schools. Because what is the rule? What do you need, right? Because we've had conversations with kids who are like, when I have my phone and I point it out to the board and I know what he's saying, I can participate. So many times what ends up happening in the community agreements is I use technology responsibly. And then everybody knows that we do that and we all sign it, right? So when you see a kid in Instagram, I'm like, are you using your technology responsibly? And they're like, oh shit, sorry, no, yeah, no, I'm not, right? Instead of like, keep your phone on the door, put your phone whatever. But if that works for you, because I know a lot of teachers that I love, that works for them. And when you walk into the room, they put their cell phones on the place. So you gotta find, right, what's best for you. But I feel like especially with the community agreements, for people coming from all over the world and coming from different cultures, it's really, really helpful, I think. Very good, so here you're gonna see a list of a lot of different games and activities that I do with the kids. And also something that is very helpful, in my opinion, is showing them a video of what it looks like. And they have videos on YouTube for every game. So that's super helpful, right, for many things. So anyway, so there's a list of games, but you know more games than I ever will. And now we're going to ask you to do something amazing. And if we can get into triads, I think that would be helpful so we can all do it. Get into triads, and between the three of you, find a game, and then how would you modify it? What would you do to make it accessible for a language learner? Okay? And then we have some markers that you can use, we have some paper. So, we have some markers and some paper if that's helpful for you. And then we're going to take about 10 minutes. Putting it together, just put the title of the game, and then how would you actually change it? What kind of strategies would you use to make it accessible? And then we'll just share it, and then we'll just add it to the list. So in this PowerPoint, I think there's like 30 games already. We will add the ones that you have to it, so you always have it. Sounds good? Yes. Should we do 3?
Yeah.
And then 3, and 4? Yeah? Would that be helpful? Yeah?
Ooh, should we get together? Yeah. Should we get together by grade?
Yeah, I think
Is that okay? No?
yeah, I think so, because I like
Yeah, I do high school.
You
know, I was saying it's my first year teaching, and I did a lot of elementary things, and I was like, oh, it's like the same.
It's a lot.
Yeah, my school has different levels, so some classes, no one speaks English, and some classes, everyone speaks English.
Yeah, they're usually all
I'm like, hello, my darling. They would die.
Well, I did my first year teaching wasn't very gay.
Okay.
So I did very gay experience.
Gotcha.
I tried to, for me, it was what I did with the bears was like kind of like a free dance, but sculpture, kind of combining the two, but with music from each country.
It's kind of a game full of like, you can do that with either.
How would we differentiate from
Scripted with like
and essentially you cast yourself as the fairy godmother that sings Cinderella. A lot of kids don't know who that is culturally, because I never saw Cinderella, but you know you're the fairy godmother. You have a wand, and you go into the circle and you say, by the time I say bibbidi bobbidi boo, you either have to say your name, my name, which you would teach the kids, or who's on your right, who's on your left name. So it's one an icebreaker because they get to learn their name. Then instead of name, you can also do gesture or sound. So you have to say a certain sound by the time I get to bibbidi bobbidi boo. Or work together with the two people. If you're in the middle and I point to you, then us two have to become the animal.
Games like that. When I did like elementary level like camps and stuff, we called it hopping. We would do like jump and squat, stop and go, that kind of
We
thing.
did, yeah, we did.
But
After a while, we got it to love that. And all these good stuff, and don't stop it.
but you switch it.
I think you just call it walk style.
I mean, we
Call it walk style, I don't know.
Do you switch it where when you say, like you start off by saying walk and then
Well,
stop?
first I do it regular. I just say walk. When I say walk, walk. And when I say stop, stop. And then I will say, now I'm going to reverse that. And then so then you just have, and what I do, and this I learned from early elementary, because I was in ECR. That's when your school, I didn't think your school got closed, and they send you out to substitutes. So because we have K through 12, I would just, every step I would take, I would add a new direction, so that would be chunky, so that I would not hit them with everything.
Yeah.
So I would start with two directions, and then I would start with pieces.
So what do we think? Strategy. That's the key. That would be.
We're doing more visuals. So I would do a couple different
Yeah.
that's it. We just have to do it. Here we go.
Okay, so
And then do like a and then the kids show walk. Like something like I'm thinking. Yeah.
So you could say like,
Yeah.
so what are you doing? I'm jogging. And then you say, you're a good jogger. I'm fishing. You're a good fisher.
If you have to write anything to do it, it's called just night at home. Yeah. No, you just make it like that. I was like, you go around like this. How do you spell museum? E-A-U-M. What? U-M-E-A-U-M?
No, there's no A.
Ah, yes, Great. All right, so I think most people know this. So the kids are a statue.
Or we could even,
Yeah, because a lot of this is, I feel like you can do so much physical modeling.
So I guess what is the prompt here that we're being asked to do?
So the prompt is, so you're being asked,
Like what are we being asked to do now?
we're saying like, become like a character, so the student's supposed to be doing this
Statement or
so, you know, like, it's not losing.
Yeah, like signs.
Yeah. And I'm like, jumping for signs. I like also, so I think
No, I'm fine. I'm just. It's fine.
Also, in so that's why when I ask for a bottle or a bag in the coffee shop, so you have to be careful, but there are a lot of things. Yes. I think you're doing it, Emma. So this is away from me.
So we're talking about how to modify what that's the easy change. Yes, yes.
Stop being
And then you like flip the instructions at some point. So talking about using the classroom as instructions, so instead of time visualizing that, having some kind of like sign or something to point to show what each repeating the instructions about. Yeah.
With Spanish, I'm like terrified to speak, I'll tell you why. I grew up in Miami. Okay. And a lot of people would make fun of me. And they'd be like, gringa, gringa. And I'd be like, well, that would be like, who's Puerto Rican? Who's Dominican? This is completely different. I know, it was like, it's a different Spanish, Mexican, Spain Spanish, and then they're like, oh, that's you, and I'm good at every things that are just disrespectful.
So then you send
When I was in the did, right? Like, I was
we come up with a silly reason to play.
okay, so I didn't know if you were telling me to slow down. So Tableau defines Tableau, right?
Whatever it is. So then the boss comes in and she's like, where's so-and-so? They're always late. And then that person says, why are you late? And you're trying to do something
but if you're doing it, that's where signage might help. If you literally have, you're going to flip it to and literally flip it.
But also with young kids, when you're teaching very basic vocabulary, when you do things like open, close, then that are basic, and then they can
It's almost so, anyway, you said it last night?
yeah, I did.
And it's a little face. Because everyone is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So they just look at it.
I like this one.
And
Different action.
not for the call, and then I'll put into parentheses, like, museum of, monsters. Museum of turtles, etc. And then we can use pictures. If we're doing it without, we can use
But I think here's, I'm sorry, and I forgot your name. Oh, Jacqueline, okay.
You'll just finish brushing
I
your
think
teeth.
what I'm wondering, and it's not coming out correctly, because I have no later on.
So person B just becomes.
I feel like this is explaining the game, but I guess where my confusion is like, are we not meant to make it an elevated way to teach multi-language learners? Because we all, like, a lot of people know this is like the stuff of the game, but how are we making it for students who don't speak English? That's like my question.
We're using visuals.
You guys are adding visuals, like what else can we do with that? Like, should we not pepper in their body? Well, yeah, but that's showing them
No, I know, but that's part of
right.
thing is
But what about like peppering in their language? Like, wasn't that like I wonder if we could pepper in like when the students take turns. Like, how do we switch take the game that already exists?
Oh no, I'm gonna get there. We're gonna get there. This is just like I'm just gonna break it down so everybody understands the game. And then we have gotten
For me, as a person trying to pick up more Spanish, that the listening is the hardest thing. That's what happens. I speak so fast. So those two things to me is easier, but the speaking and getting them to listen. So I think if you're having a language that really requires listening.
So, but like, I also know our students.
Well, we play Festivus.
Terrible. And then you can change it to like
Yeah.
GZ.
Activation, really, right?
Like everyone else's.
Oh yeah, to generate other so it's like we all, even though we all say turtles different ways, we are all doing turtles.
So maybe that should be.
Yeah, I know, but we always
Like, this goal of this activity, we're like writing out how to read it. But then, and then what are we being asked to like elevating it for multi-language learners? How do we bring in other languages? How do we make it more innovative essentially or not? Just accessible.
So we're doing, okay, so let's play, we're doing Flashlight, we're doing a mega museum. So
I do not. I'm excited.
So basically, someone is the night guard and they have a flashlight. And they, so everybody uses whatever we call out. So we might say a museum of turtles. Everybody, you're a museum of turtles. And then the person with the flashlight says flashlight, and everybody needs to freeze like a statue, like a tableau. And then they go around, and if anybody moves, you're complaining. And then the next person, we bring somebody else out to be a leader, and they could say, Perro, a museum de perro, a museum of dogs. And if people don't understand dogs, they're using their body to show us.
Definitely. I wonder if those things that because I'm using it all could be a card.
That's what we were sent to. We
Yeah,
sent
so that's a picture. Oh my god, I
So
love
we're
it.
doing like we know, and then we're adding in visuals, and then there's an opportunity for the students to put in their own language.
Not necessarily. We're just talking about the fact that you are going to make sure that you're going to need your script. This is a museum. Yeah, perfect.
Seventh graders.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's it. Okay. I was trying to make it a little more, I don't know, challenging or
Oh,
something.
you're so sweet. All right, how are we doing, everybody? We need one more minute? We're good? All right, perfect. Thank you. We can like do a back to your
Trying to do a space bar. We should play face. Okay, and start running it. The actual possibility.
Great.
Thanks very much.
So I guess here, like, do you use visuals or no?
it was like taking and I wasn't
Sometimes we have
we had the most assessment before.
I feel like it also the first half of the year it was like just like something.
Oh, right, buddy. We can go back to our seats. We can talk about this.
We all know me.
I just made it.
Which was fair.
No, I just made it.
Oh, you
Based on
did?
what you said. Yes, we can have it. All right. Wow.
So is this now on the slideshow that we?
There we go.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you. All right, beautiful. Would you like to start sharing? There you go.
Sure, yeah, so we chose the walk, stop, clap, jump, and we had this incredible graphic all ready for you. Or some people call it like opposites, and the idea is that you switch the instructions at some point. So you ask them to walk around, and you say walk, stop, and you say stop, jump, and you say, but at some point you switch, so when you say stop, they go, when you say go, they stop. And we talked about a lot of different ways. So one of the big ideas was about having some kind of, in addition to modeling, some kind of visual sign or visual aid to help get the instructions or to know what the instructions mean. We also talked about like using whatever classroom languages you have for the instructions instead of just using.
Blurs like.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of just using the English walk, stop, clap, jump, or whatever, we also talked about the idea of like having the students come up with their own opposites besides these things, happy, sad, or whatever, and teach it to the class in their language. We also talked about having the students just repeating the words, which is that you would add it to the game, but if you say the instruction, they would have to say it out loud first and then do it, which would be the language learning, a little bit of time for processing, and a little bit of time to like check in and see what other people are doing before you do it, so you don't do the wrong thing. Yeah, did I miss anything? No, we thought it would be a good game for language learners because the instructions are short and simple, and you can sort of watch the rest of your class.
And also in terms of time, this could be a warm-up with my amazing kids that are being in the theater group for 4 years. But then how long is it going to take for a language learner, right? Great. Thank you very much. That was great. Very good. Would you like to talk about the night of the museum?
So one of the games that Karen really likes to play with the elementary school kids is Night at the Museum. And yeah, perfect. So the idea is that the class becomes a museum of statues. So we said first you really want to like talk about what a museum, maybe have images so they can see what this looks like as far as statues in a museum. Role model, let them practice being statues, and the idea is the night watchman has a flashlight, and when they shine it on you, you have to freeze. So we could play just basic with the statues first, and then add in this level of now who are the people in the mirror, the characters in the museum.
Yeah, so you would say this is a museum of frogs. And so if it was a museum of frogs and you don't know how to translate that, I would start with really simple things that you can use your body to show them with, like museum of frogs, and then everybody goes it's frogs, and then when you say okay go, and you're walking with your flashlight, everybody's like moving around like frogs, and as soon as you say flashlight, you shine it on everyone, and whoever moves is technically out, but I just say for that round, and then I bring them back in to do that. So it's just a way of, and then you can use visuals for that. You can bring if you want to start by doing it yourself and then teach it to them, and then they can be the night watchman, and they can call it out in their language, and if I'm like, what is that? Then they have to show with their body exactly what that is.
I love that. Any reactions to that? Or?
Sounds fun.
It sounds amazing. So it just made me think we are a project-based school. So everything in the unit ends up with a project. I think it'll be really cool. I mean, I'm also thinking about what skills they need to be able to do that. So what is a tableau should be a lesson.
Tableau is in there.
Right,
yeah.
right. So that should be a separate day.
Yeah.
And then activating the tableau might be a separate day, and all these different things. And then if we're reading different Shakespeare shows, maybe we can do the Shakespeare Museum at the end of the unit, and then each tableau could be a different character from a different play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fucking amazing, yes.
So
Thank
I was
you.
thinking like, how do you,
Yeah,
that's
right?
really cool, yeah.
That's really cool, and then they choose the different characters and the different things. Amazing. Thank you. Yes. What are you doing? What's that?
We talked about a whole group circle game of what are you doing, a pantomime improv. Using a script and starting by modeling so that person A asks the question, person B is acting out something. Person A says, what are you doing? Person B says, I am fill in the blank. Person A says, you're so good at fill in the blank. Or that can be the whole group saying that and thank you, and then keep it going around the circle. And specifically using a word bank and a picture bank so that maybe on the board there's a ton of options of like sweeping the floor and brushing your teeth and jogging and stuff like that, so that they can see what you're doing and then answer in whatever language works for them. What else?
No wrong answers,
Yeah.
so they can copy the person before them, they can copy someone else from the circle, that way they have examples right in front of them. And we said that normally, like when you play this game, you have to answer a different thing than the action that you're doing, but the adaptation for language learners, like for the whole class, would be changing the game so that you're just saying exactly what you are doing, because that added level is a whole other level of confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. I do bring that also so you have it, but I love the idea of the word bank and everything. I'm also very excited about grammatically how they're understanding the verbs that end in ing, walking, learning, brushing, and then the fact that you have to have the I am with an ing verb.
Yeah.
Your ESL teachers will really appreciate that.
Yeah. We did also talk about a variation, like they don't have to say you're so good at it, like they can choose whether to say you're great at it or you're terrible at it.
I love that. Yes. And then I think that one thing further also that would work would be adding an adverb.
Yeah.
So I am walking, now I'm walking slowly.
Right.
And we've done it actually where I have a pack of cards with verbs that end in ing and a pack of adverbs. So they take two. Walking slowly, okay. And the purpose of the game is for the people to guess what you're doing, kind of a charades kind of situation. And then whoever says, oh, I got the answer, you are blah, 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 blah. And that person gets candy or something, whatever. It's really fun. And it just gets you on your feet and it makes you, work about it. And then using verbs in your own language. So when everybody gets that you are brushing your teeth, how do you say it in your own language? Oh, cool. And then you have like a big card with everybody.
Yeah.
That could be a good thing too.
I had a question,
Yes.
did you make the cards or did you?
I make them. Yeah, I make them. Just a bunch of verbs and a bunch of adjectives. And it doesn't have to be also 20 or 100. You can do 5 and 5. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
So we preschool, elementary school, a little preschool background, and middle school. So we went a little younger. Which worked out perfectly because lots of showing pictures. So the game, I don't know exactly what it's called, but essentially you say, can you, and then bake a cake. And then all the kids they take their, yes I can. That's what I think it might be called, yes I can. So can you drive a truck? So they're all, yes, I can. And they, I can't drive a truck. You can drive a truck because you can do it however you want. So we talked about like, how would we modify it? Pictures for sure. Absolutely modeling it first. Whole group, because then it takes the attention off of just 1 or 3 or how small groups at a time. And everyone's doing it. And what I've seen, or what often happens is, depending on how new our friends are, they'll look around and see and then sometimes want to do it and sometimes not. The script one,
Can you?
Yeah,
That's the
Oh,
what you're
okay,
saying.
yeah.
Like, you can change and modify that script too into a different language depending on your cohort, and also putting it in small groups.
Yeah.
Cause when we're working with 4 and 5-year-olds, it's like, it has to be literal, it has to be simple, and it has to be direct instruction. And it can be in small groups, but sometimes, they'll go bananas.
Those are my, yeah, and I was gonna say, as teacher, those are my favorite PDs. When it's simple, when it's literal, when I know what to do, it's good. Yes, I think it works for everybody. Very good. Perfect. I made a little slide for you as well, so we have it. Very good. Perfect. So thank you so much. It's wonderful to see so many experts. And I think something important to understand is that we're already experts on this. We already can do this. We already, we just have to believe that we can. Because if you allow yourself to feed with your thoughts of like there's so many languages, there's so many people, some don't know how to read, some don't know how to write, at the end of the day they're just humans. And we teach something very powerful, which is theater. And theater, really, we are born with that program already in our software. We have it. So just tap on it and we can do it, I think. Very good. Any reflection? Should we do a reflection?
Yeah, we're going to go into a reflection, and I think you can stay in your groups because you made friends and you're talking, but things that struck you, things that you're going to walk away from with this, and maybe something new you learned that you feel that you could use in your classroom really comfortably. And we have some examples here, but maybe something else you could take and say, oh, this is this other thing I do, and I think I could do that. So about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that, and then we can just do a really brief share out. Right?
Thank you.
Also the focus is on that.
I think that because I'm a New Yorker, I think I talk too much and too fast. And so to just give one word directions and to just be really repetitive and precise, that's something I really
I have not talk so fast. I think it's because I'm saying the same instructions like 5 times a day, and so at the time I'm like, so I also should remember that. But also just everything kind of that we talked about, because it's like the end of the year, and also as I'm lesson planning, I'm just kind of like copy paste, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and I'm never thinking through like the scaffolding of the steps that it takes to get everybody.
And she's very much
right now,
we did right at the beginning where
and I couldn't believe, because as a teaching artist, all the time, I would do everything like, just come in, use your body, and I love that, and it's so powerful, but I think sometimes what we expect this year is like how literal you have to be, and like
so excited to just stand in the floor and use the point to like
It might sound rude
be the
for you,
director. And yeah, so really excited to the opportunity to actually like
Right.
just one
I like to do is I just write, the town down and so, and all the stories, how I hear
And then it's hard for the kids because like
Right.
so
they don't have to come up with a solution, like they're just saying the numbers, but then the whole class is like, great, or them, and it's free, great, they'll come to me and they'll be like, disconnect my language, and this brings your kids in. I also think it's validation, they just love it. And a lot of times, it's like, I'm highly
also have students to like shut down your ego or don't even try. I'm like, there's an obvious connection there. You're doing that for so long.
At least in my class, because like I was doing elementary language, so in their classroom they're going back and forth. But then it's like when I come in, it's just English, and they're just like, and I'm like, oh, and I wish I could, but I don't know Chinese.
It's so hard.
Right. So we don't know. It's kind of like
Ladies and gentlemen, we are sadly just about at time. So first of all, thank you for a brilliant presentation. You were a wonderful group to have, so thank you so much. If each group wants to share out one thing, because we're actually at time, and then you'll have 10 minutes to go to the bathroom, and water, whatever it is that you need before going to your next session at 10:20. Does anyone want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off.
Sure.
I just want to say that at the bottom of at the end of every PD here, there's a little section that says, what would you want added? And this is exactly what I write every single time. And you have nailed it, like exactly the concerns that I'm having in my class every day. And we were just saying like the importance of this work, even if it's like because it forces you to really focus your thoughts and think in a much simpler way, and connect with a child who is going to be possibly relocated. A lot of our kids are relocated. So you see them for a few months, and you like connect the best you can, give them as much love as you can, show them these things we're doing, and then they're off. And like they have to restart. So like all of this stuff is just so important, and like thank you for sharing like everything that you went through. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think just the whole beginning part was so eye-opening for me. I mean, we've been doing these PDs for years and years and years, and this is the first year we're actually talking about this, and it should be starting from here on out. This should be necessary for everybody to take. But I'm freezing. I didn't bring a sweater, so if I'm shadowing, I'm like, I gotta go out and get a coat. But anyway, the way that you started in that really complicated way is a really great way to model what the students are hearing when they come into an English-speaking classroom, and like, come on, get it, like do it, and then stopping and going backwards and then combining the two languages, like the way you scaffolded this today was really, really helpful. And just speaking of what you're saying, and one of the things I was saying that is so frustrating is that the kids come in the middle of the year. Some of us are still getting kids right now, and it's like really hard for the kids who have been working and you've been scaffolding with the other class when the new kids come in to take a moment to be like, what's your name? Especially if as an elementary school teacher, I only see kids once a week. So if I have a curriculum to go by, it's been very hard to like stop everything, but I think it's like essential. Now that I think about when I had like 15 new kids in one day, and I should have just been like, screw the curriculum right now, let's just sit down so that they can feel comfortable and we can feel comfortable, and I think that is essential.
Do you have anyone else wanted to yeah.
I think something that we all kind of agreed on is slowing down. We were talking about being New Yorkers and talking much faster than you realize you're speaking, and just slowing down and giving very clean directions. And I have actually been every year writing that we need a PD like this, so I would like to say this is because of me.
And on that note, my friends, thank you so much for making this happen for us today.
We also echoed some of the things that Karen said as well, the anxiety thing, and understand and the visuals.
And we have to send you to your next PD because your people are waiting for you. So, but please continue talking over lunch.
And my email is also right there at the bottom. Any questions?
Like, you know how we've done students with
Thank you.
disabilities, like multi-session days?